This is Jaden. He's 6 years old. He likes books and football. He also happens to be one of the smartest people in America. On January 13th, this amazing child prodigy will out-answer PhDs and Ivy League professors.
This is a tough question.
I can name every single one right now.
And win his family.
Want to know something insane? This show never made it to air. And to be honest, it's not hard to see why. Mark Burnett is a name you may not be familiar with, but his contributions to the world of television are too big to be unignorable. Whether it be Survivor, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, or Shark Tank, Burnett has defined game shows and reality television since the turn of the millennia. So we can all agree that Mark Burnett has made some amazing things when it comes to television, right? Right? Well, no. Because to preface this video, I need to state a passage from the Federal Communications Act Amendment of 1960. A thing I've mentioned a few times on the channel before if you're new here, and something that only exists because people were fucking stupid in the 50s. And I quote, "Don't rig game shows for people to win, you fucking numbskulls." For some background, in 1958, the show 21 had been rigged for two contestants, Herb Stempel and Charles Van Doren. Stempel spilled the beans that Revlon, NBC, and Jack Barry were rigging the show for contestants to win. This led to a trial by the US Supreme Court and effectively killed the game show industry until the original version of Jeopardy came out in 1964. But that's a story for another time. We're here talking about a show that ducked the FCC's investigation by, well, not airing the show. I am talking about, of course, Our Little Genius. Created in 2010 by the aforementioned Mark Burnett, the show worked like this. In each slated episode for the series, a new child prodigy aged 6 to 12 would be asked a series of 10 questions. Questions were available at different levels of higher education, with the 10th and final question stated to be only answerable by, quote-unquote, the finest minds in the world. Answer all 10 correctly, and the contestant and the parents would win $500,000. The show is hosted by Kevin Pollak, who, in all honesty, has some decent acting credits under his belt. Anyway, as mentioned before, the show never aired. 1 week prior to the show's premiere, Mark Burnett said that the show is set to be shelved following concerns of integrity surrounding the show. Which is corporate bullshitese for, oh fuck, the FCC found out. What happened? Well, you know what? Fuck it. They were giving kids the answers. In 2021, contestant Benjamin Mueller came out about the show's illegality, stating that the show's producers were giving him the answers, which he didn't know was legal until after the show had concluded. He states the following from a comment on a post from the r/TodayILearned subreddit discussing the show. Paraphrased. The fundamental stupidity in rigging Our Little Genius is that the show probably would have gone just fine had they not chosen to interfere at the last minute. We did test rounds over the phone for months before the taping, so they knew I could correctly answer dozens and dozens of test questions. The $10,000 safety net question, third overall, that I lost on was even a version of a question I'd answered correctly several times in test rounds already. Name the 3 carnivorous dinosaurs larger than Tyrannosaurus Rex. Apparently, the producers felt this wasn't entertaining enough, and decided to throw in additional, poorly researched components to old questions. By the time I got on stage, the question had morphed into this. Name the 4 carnivorous dinosaurs larger than T-Rex, and name the largest dinosaur of all time. After I guessed Suchomimus, they cut the lights and ushered me off of the stage and into a side room with a child psychologist. We found out that the 4th animal they were looking for was Tyranotitan, a species that isn't known from nearly enough material to definitely be called bigger than a T-Rex. Whoever they hired to do their research clearly didn't know this or didn't care because they intended to slip me the answer either way. God knows how many Burnett and Fox lawyers watching on and ready to hold me to the contract I had just signed and sue me into oblivion if I spoke up and said, hey, they just told me the answer to this question off stage. My mind goes back to that moment every now and then and wonders what would have happened if I had spoken up and said the words that were on the tip of my tongue instead of succumbing to the pressure and repeating the answer back to them. Years later, I was reassured by the Arizona Republic journalist assigned to my story that the likelihood of me being sued for breaching this NDA after turning 18 were slim to none. So I took the gamble and consented to have the story published so it wouldn't be on me alone to remember all the details anymore. I'm happy to say that it did relieve a lot of pressure and has helped me move on and focus on science, which has always been what really matters to me. End quote. So, to reword what I just said, the producers of Our Little Genius were attempting to rig the show and threatened to sue a young man if he went to the FCC over valid allegations of show rigging. I've seen some shady shows in my day. I've seen shows where they've refilmed all because they didn't get the right footage and they gave the contestants scripts. I've seen shows that producers fired the host because he was uncomfortable with the treatment of animals on the show. Hell, I've seen shows where a contestant was fucking murdered all because she admitted just a little bit too much. This fucking show takes the goddamn cake for the most insanely fucked up and shady show ever made. And when stacked up against Manhunt, Killer Karaoke, and El Valor de la Verdad, it's not hard and never will be hard to see why. Overall, Our Little Genius is so bad, so fucking horrible, that the show never aired and all the episodes are considered fully lost. This show is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever heard about. I'd rather be made to watch The Moment of Truth 1 million times over. At least that show has some entertainment value. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm Duality Dustman, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Fuck it, I don't want to end this on a sour note. Might as well do a funny after credits scene like CS188 does. You know, here's a funny idea for a game show. Put a set of parents in one room, and in another room, a young toddler, no older than 4. The parents watch as the toddler makes a choice. Choice A, a check for $1 million. Choice B, toys from the dollar store that would cost $9 overall. Watch hilarity and insanity ensue. That's a better idea than Our Little Genius.